Okay, so in this case, what we're going to do is just something very basic. Uh, do we have to read it, that paper? So after that, we're going to do a summarizing about 500 words. Okay, so let's get started. IoT and environmental analytical chemistry towards a profitable symbiosis. Okay, this article was made also in Spain and in Valencia. Okay, so we have on the abstract. In a constantly evolving world where the rising population and increased social awarenesses have led to a higher concern of environment, research in this field, most notable in environmental analytical chemistry, should take advantage of the great opportunities offered by new technologies such as Internet of Things and IoT, which is a name I think about environmental analytical chemistry, and cloud-based services. Both of them are especially suitable when chemical sensors are related devices that are used in a continuous online monitoring of environmental parameters. In this sense, it is very important to obtain spatially distributed information of these parameters as well as their temporal evolution. This work, a friendly approach to IoT work for environmental applications, is carried out to get a global vision of these concepts. The starting point of this historical evolution. New trends are also identified along with associated challenges and potential threats. Furthermore, not only there will be in the near future a need to rely on distributed analytical sensors, but also on even more complex lab-based techniques that are connected to the IoT through appropriate mechanisms. A revision of the recent literature relating to IoT with environmental issues has also been performed, the most relevant contributions being discussed. Finally, we need of a mutual cooperation between IoT environmental analytical chemistry is outlined and commented in detail. Ignoring the new capabilities offered by cloud computing and IoT environments, it's not further an opinion. In a sense, the main contribution of this paper consists of highlighting the fact that the wiser course is to embrace these opportunities consciously for mutual profit. Okay, so this document was made in 2020 this year. Yep. Introduction. It is clear that monitoring the environment is increasingly important since it is one of the greatest concerns in our society. In this sense, more and more systems work in one way or another to counter environmental parameters with robust requirements. It is thus not surprising that environmental analytical chemistry should explore the benefits that can get from new technologies such as Internet of Things, IoT, and cloud computing. Due to their unique features, especially spatial and temporal distribution, for its part, IoT also faces series of challenges, which will be commented later. The solution adopted obviously depend on the application, and therefore this paper discusses those corresponding to environmental analytical chemistry. In this sense, it is obvious that the lower the required limit of detection and more difficult specific identification in a given matrix, the more sophisticated sensing platforms are required. And unfortunately, the level of complexity which is offered by IoT link autonomously operating sensors is still below high level link out laboratory methods. Significantly more advanced in integrating all types of environmental sensors with the IoT are the needed major contributions being dealt within this review. However, it still remains unclear whether some of these approaches are suited for unintended IoT applications, especially considering the challenges of environmental assessment. IoT can be defined in many ways. According to the International Telecommunications Union, ITU defines it as a global infrastructure of for information, society, enable advanced service by interconnecting physical and virtual things based on existing and evolving interoperable information and communication technologies. On the other hand, the standardization commit ISO IEC JTC1 SWG5 describes it as an infrastructure of interconnected objects, people, systems, and information resources together with intelligent services to allow them to process information for the physical and the virtual world and react. So, do we have these definitions highlight the existence of a communication infrastructure that interconnects the so-called intelligent objects. This concept closely resembles another one. Whose computer these communication abilities are then used to offer services located in a set of server cloud to connect clients. Both approaches are obviously complementary. I refers to low-cost devices, and therefore limited resources, interactive with the real world, whereas cloud computing deals with highly scalable systems which provide services in a virtual level. These combined approaches straightforward with a lot of advantages. A deeper knowledge about those concepts may be obtained from historical perspective, which is provided in Section 2. Section 3 discusses the state-of-the-art in IoT and cloud computing applications in environmental analytical chemistry. Finally, Section 4 offers the author opinion, their own contribution on future trends regarding the symbiosis of environmental analytical chemistry and IoT. Then we have 2. What is behind the Internet of Things term? In our view, the best way to enter to IoT is by studying the evolution of the technologies leading to the rise of IoT. Figure 1. The first computers gave rise to need of their communication, initially through wire networks and later by means of wire networks. This was the starting point of computer networks, and using them, the so-called distributed systems, a set of computers that were interconnected to carry out a set of applications, usually distributed in space and from the user's point of view, acting as a single system. An example of this in analytical chemistry may be distributed expert system for the monitoring and control of food parameters along an alcoholic fermentation process. The 19th of the last century saw an impressive advantage in consumer electronics and simultaneously in the world of computing. The latter have increased their power and reduces energy consumption as well as size and price. Computer-based systems behind them to inundate day-to-day life. We can see Figure 1 about towards the way towards IoT Internet of Things. By continuing with the reading, do we have a similar evolution has taken place in environmental analysis system. The old-fashioned system where samples were manually taken and transported to the laboratory for the offline analysis gave way to automatic systems in which analyses were carried out either offline or online. The last stage was the inline analysis, followed soon by a new paradigm based on cloud technology. The cloud gathered and stored all data corresponding to the measured values, Both cases rely upon the use of communication networks. Such as computer networks start their interconnection, and they reaching a single global network that is known today as Internet. In this way, we arrive at the point where, for instance, all of our devices are connected to the word Internet, and therefore among them as well, with an ever increasing number of applications exchanging information through this network of networks. In this sense, the decreasing size, consumption, and price of computer systems led to the emergence of new philosophies regarding the particular world of sensorization, namely the so-called WSN wireless sensor networks, and or WSAN wireless sensor and actuator networks. They transform traditional, expensive, and using manual analysis devices monitoring system based on a few sensors into unique smart sensorization systems that are able to provide an impressive amount of information. The next transformation was the application of this idea of sensor, an element capable of obtaining information from the surrounding world, to the concept of integrating it into analysis into anything of day-to-day life, the later being connected to the internet. This gave rise to the increasingly popular Internet of Things IoT, which can be considered as an ecosystem where a great deal of technologies coexist, from sensor networks to embedded systems that are integrated into the cloud in order to provide new services. IoT as an enabled technology arose in the 1990s, when Mark Weiser already predicted the disappearance of the computer since the computing power would integrate itself into everyday objects. Later on, Kevin Ashton introduces the term Internet of Things, remarking a world where all objects will be connected to the Internet. So we're going to do a little break here because I want you to show this thing, this figure one. The timeline. We have devices, communication, network, environment. At the first column, devices embedded system, then the communication wire networks, network telephone network, environment. Do we have in this picture, a clear idea about what is going on the article? Well, in this case, it's kind of summarizing the embedded system. What is very interesting is that how it was improving. In the first, just said like telephone networks, an environment, distributed system, the local area network, because they're nowhere like everywhere. It was just a specific point. Then starts the radio. The wire networks are all these wire that are traveling on the earth. And about sensor networks, do we have the radio? Do we have the GSM, the GPRS, which is the internet, the monitoring system, the smartphones, then with the 4G or G4 low power, and then the smart objects, right? For example, the 5G, the smart environments, right? Then do we have traditional offline approaches, in this case, the electronic device with display. This is the time, right? And the electronic device with display, the environmental analytical size, the communication in infrastructures, environmental analytical sign, environmental analytical sign, chlorocodes. That's very interesting. Then we have in this part the scheme of line analysis at line or line analysis. In line analysis, data retrieved from cloud, Do we have internet? Additionally, these objects will interact with one another in an intelligent way to provide human beings with a higher quality in life without intervening directly. This concept has been a utopia for many years until the great advances in electronics and the democratization of communications have made it feasible. In fact, nowadays it is possible to find processors that are thousand times more powerful than early computers and as small as 1 centimeter square in size. Communication possibilities are then enormous, with a coverage of nearly 500 of territory in the Western world. And last by no means least, prices in both electronics and I mean and last by no means least, prices in both electronic and communications are really low, which permits a to purchase a great amount of devices, to implement fault tolerance mechanisms based on redundancy, and to cover large surfaces with high spatial resolution levels. All in all, the huge potential of IoT may be reduced from coherence report, according to which 8 of 2000 technology trends are directly related to IoT, and the other two have applications in IoT. Nowadays, we can often find mobile devices such as smartphones that are able to provide good connectivity, as well as user application in advanced services. Nevertheless, the last frontier consists of the fact that these devices embedded in everyday objects need to be able to provide their user with unrequired services and in cooperation with other services and are intelligent objects. For this purpose, it is necessary to provide these devices with the ability to detect and anticipate the user's needs. This can only be achieved through the integration of sensor devices that interact with the real world, thus giving them a safe and constant information of the environment. The great advantage of this so-called wireless sensor networking has permitted a step forward in this field. What is required is a real integration of the devices that exceed simple communication. So for being on for a collaborative intelligence to be able of efficiently process the data obtained by this sensor. Bearing all that in mind, all necessary measures is adopted to provide the user with an increased security and convenience. Nevertheless, whichever approach is taken, it is still needed to receive the data. If we currently address it in two ways. The classic approach will be to incorporate coding into your application, such as a laboratory information management system, links for analytical laboratory, or a supervisory control and data acquisition, SCADA for a process control system. Then we have in figure 3, cloud device application side, the cloud device application side, IC side, the communication structures. Then we have this environmental and ethical side in both cases and monitoring environment, right? Those are the graphics. Simultaneously, but within the concept of IoT, new and more evolutionary applications based on the use of the internet are developed. An example could be the term ubiquity, since the user began to employ a great deal of different computing devices. Personal computers, smartphones, wearable peripherals, smart hands applications, etc. in many places. This gives rise to the need of creating a single access to the information. Whatever they may be and regardless of the computer they use, This makes it necessary to establish a common place to store information, and then the concept of cloud appears. But if data are hosted in the cloud, why not run applications in the cloud as well? It could be a clear advantage, and then the concept of cloud computing emerges. On the other hand, as everything is connected to the internet, a great amount of information is increasingly available, which makes it essential to develop new technologies that are able to store suitable information in primary deal of data. This gives rise to the so-called big data. Finally, if a large amount of information has been provided by other than big data, it must be used in such a way as to generate smart environments. In this sense, the new term ambient intelligence (AML) proposes the creation of intelligent environments, smart houses, autonomous cars, smart cities, that are to the needs, preferences, and interests of the people who live there, with the aim of improving living standards for all of us. A smart and distributed sensing system can then be considered as a major technological cornerstone of IoT, applicable to many fields such as wearable sensor, industrial smart monitoring, and environmental monitoring. Actually, one of the major challenges of using smart wearable sensor in real deployment is related to energy consumption, cost, and warranting adequate lifetime. The support of the remote management, reception, store, processing, and sharing of this data will be provided by the a aforementioned cloud computing technology. It consists of the presence of the Internet service, clusters, which offer data carrier services through the Internet, including SaaS, software as a service. It provides the end user with final application of Internet accessible data. PaaS, platform as a service. It allows for the development of applications that take advantage of the environment, ubiquity, high availability. EaaS, infrastructure as a service. It permits certain computer resources and offer virtual machines, which gives rise to smooth and less scalability. Shows the different elements combined in a cloud-based out platform. All devices in the platform are able to exchange information between them through the information infrastructure for this purpose. And as shown in the figure, it can be said that each device has two sides. One of them is specific to the device with its own functionality, whereas of the other one, the so-called ICT side, ICT side information and communication technology, it is charged and all ICT related issues, communication processing, power supply management. The environment to be analyzed is shown at the bottom of the figure. The analysis is carried out using an array of sensory devices. Apart from the aforementioned ICT side, all of them have knowledge side, environmental analytical side, and perform the analysis of the environmental parameters under monitoring. The analytical chemist should play here a major role, especially taking into account the restrictions imposed by the type sensory device. The cloud is located at the top of the figure. It consists of a set of devices providing services along with the ICT side that complement information obtained by the sensorization node. This information can be stored on distributed databases. They are utilized by several applications running in the cloud in order to provide an added value. In this sense, the data current provided by the cloud also includes their processing (IA), the combination of different data to produce a new technology. Sometimes this is an easy process. For example, the research for conventional statistical information or basic operations, but it is not always. So, in other cases, the great amount of data to be stored and this cloud system require the application of big data techniques, the processing of a large volume of information in order to achieve added value. In this sense, big data allows for predictive analysis, research, or trends and data correctness assessment. These platforms foster innovation in a collaborative intelligence applied to the data obtained by the devices. This large volume of data makes it necessary to utilize advanced processing techniques, such as data science techniques, that allow for extracting the relevant information. These disciplines are rousing a great deal of interest, which is growing exponentially thanks mainly to the large amount of data obtained through the internet. On the other hand, the utilization of this relevant data for the well-being of users has led to the development of new artificial intelligence techniques. For example, deep learning. However, the inexorable rise of these new technologies face serious challenges, which should be solved in a satisfactory way, so that they may be employed using their full potential. Among these problems, we can remark privacy, not all data can be accessed freely, security, improper access or use, or malfunctioning may cause damage. Integrity, data can be incorrect or manipulated, and so on. Furthermore, the lack of standardization of these new technologies, as well as the consequent uncertainty of slowed down their application. Companies innovating in this field develop ad hoc applications that are often mutually incompatible, what give rise to interoperability problems. Despite these issues, a major unstoppable transformation is currently taking place in the society. There is an exponential increase in the number of computer systems as well as in their application in all areas. This creates new conceptions in all fields so that we are slowly redirecting our way of thinking and our daily activities toward this new reality. The concept of IoT is not unaffected by this transformation, and we are gradually adapting us to this revolutionary technology. This forces researchers to be one step ahead in its use. Their investigation behind mainly focuses on its practical applications. Applications of IoT in cloud computing, environmental analytical chemistry. In the field of environmental analytical chemistry, IoT prepares the way for a future based on millions of smart connected devices, which sense their surroundings and, combined with cloud computing services, will provide information on scales ranging from the microscopic to global. In this section, the most relevant recent contributions of IoT and cloud computing in this field will be discussed. Our contribution will then consist of providing a concise but still conveying the important information overview of the substantial knowledge gained over the last decade and the effort required to develop and merge environmental analytical chemistry with the Internet of Things. Dean et al. 24 developed a location-based interactive model of IoT and cloud integration IoT Cloud. For mobile cloud computer applications, it then can be easily compared to the periodic sensing model. If sensors are required to report their data periodically, be they necessary or not. This certainly leads to unnecessary energy loss due to redundant transmission. Rather, in this model, IoT Cloud provides sensing services on demand based on internet and location of mobile user, which is very important in the continuous monitoring of environmental parameters. In this case, sensing scheduling of sensor is controlled by the cloud, which knows when and where sensor data are required. It means that when there is no demand, sensors are put into a standby mode to save energy. This location-based model has turned out to be a significant improvement in terms of network lifetime compared to the periodic model. The team of Kesson co-workers have pioneered the development and characterization of an ultra-low power radio frequency identification wireless sensor tag with potential metric input for use with pH and ISES ion selective electrodes. They claim that this type of tag will be critical to the practical realization of IoT. The tag is able to measure and store electrode potential in its internal memory and then transfer log data wirelessly by RFID to a nearby reader or by near field communication (NFC) to smartphone. This sensor tag is steered forward with ultra-low power consumption, potentiometry, sensing ability, autonomous data logging, and RFID NFC compatible air interface. These characteristics made it tag suitable for utilization in environmental analysis, since in the continuous monitoring of certain parameters, pH or other ice are chemical sensor network that will support the IO. The author successfully compared the performance of this tag in the pH determination in solution to the carried out with a commercial laboratory pH method. On November 16, 2017, the American Chemical Society hosted a webinar featuring Dr. Wendy A. Warren talking about a technological advances that have significantly changed chemical research, uh, as well as that